Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Apes Inside. Hey, again, I'm your host, Beloved. We have Regshar here and
Hey,
Azir. What's up, guys?
Hey,
hey, what's up? Skirt, skirt.
what's up, bro?
I've been hold- How's everyone been holding up?
Oh, by the way,
Uh,
welcome to the best podcast in the whole YouTube platform and also on the Spotify platform.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man. We're gonna
Now
get
yeah.
available in iTunes.
Yay!
Here's our
All right,
Patreon. No, I'm just kidding.
all right. Oh my god. So basically, um, this week has been crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
Crazy right now. um, let's start off with you guys know what cancel culture is?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So right now, it's getting kind of out of hand. It started with it started with the Joji and K-pop stans, I think, or people figuring out that he was what do you call that?
Pink
He
guy.
was pink guy, yeah, and
His
the K-pop
personality.
stans were like, I think this started on Twitter, and the K-pop stans were like, "Yo, we should cancel him because he's like this, he's like that, he's like this, he's actually pink guy, you guys," and and Joji tried to defend himself by saying that he portrays that character he portrays that character to tell people that they shouldn't be like pink guy or even filthy Frank, you know.
Yeah, filter from.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's kind of obnoxious that people would do that. I mean, it would be understandable if, for example, the guy that you're trying to to cancel or girl did something horrendous in his past, you know, in his past years before he became famous. For example, like maybe he raped a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be considered like a cancel right there. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
if someone just said something, did some sort of thing that is not valid anymore today, that is not valid right now, but it was pretty okay back then. It doesn't make sense to cancel them right now because of something they did before.
yeah,
And yeah, speaking of that, um, everyone knows Jenna Marbles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a big YouTuber for
How
how
many
many
subs
years?
right now? Is
Like
she
she has
more than
no,
10
no,
million, right?
yeah, she has more than 10 million subs. And
yeah,
for this yesterday, I saw a video where people were making some kind of statement in Twitter or in YouTube, like, "Oh, Jenna Marble quits YouTube." I'm like, "What? Why?" And then I searched into it, and it looks like people were trying to cancel her, or people were bullying her so much that she actually quit YouTube on her latest vid. You can check it out, by the way. It's called "A Message" by Jenna Marbles, and
yeah,
because of that, even the big man himself, PewDiePie, right, made a statement
Mm-hmm.
out of the video saying that you know a good YouTuber like Jenna Marbles was bullied out of the platform so much that she quit YouTube, and Felix or PewDiePie added that shouldn't we learn from that mistake instead of trying to cancel people of who they are right now. I think
yeah,
the context of what he's trying to say is that the actions that we did before that were pretty much not pretty much but borderline okay to do or say, which is not okay anymore today, shouldn't be a
yeah,
factor why we should cancel who we are right now.
yeah. That's
People
true.
do stupid things. That's a given fact. There's no one perfect, and even the big man himself said that. And it's kind of
Yeah,
sad seeing I'm not really a big fan of Jenna Marbles, but everyone knows her for a long time
She's
as
been like
a
in the platform for like
yeah,
since 2008, right?
yeah,
Or
she's
even
one of the OGs.
farther than that. Like
Yeah, she's one of
2007,
the
I believe.
OGs. Yeah, she's one of the OGs of the YouTube platform, and for people to cancel her out because of again things she did before, it's just And it's just obnoxious. It's just infuriating to see.
Yeah.
And do you guys know why she got cancelled in the first place, right? And like what got her in so-called troubled waters?
Uh,
I didn't really. Um, all I know is that she quit YouTube, and then like when I watched the video, like in the beginning, like I just stopped because I knew that I would just get pissed off, so I just let it be. But yeah, you, could you tell the story of why she was canceled or
So
she was in troubled waters?
I'm not really 100% sure, but I pretty much I know on I know what happened that caused her to quit, and it's one of her videos that she's done before, and this is like pretty much long
Pretty
ago,
old. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's
yeah.
we all know about the Black Lives Matter movement right now, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's going big right now.
basically in in her in her old video, she did the blackface where basically it's you're not really of how would you say this? Basically you're not let's say you're not African American and you're like a white person and you're
Uh-huh.
trying to make yourself or like act out or even put on makeup that make you look like an African American person, something
Mhm.
like that. So basically um that was brought up again in this modern time, which is 2020,
Mhm.
and that's why she got cancelled because of that. But that before, it wasn't much of a big deal. It was much more of like a comedic skit, skit,
Oh
skit,
yeah, yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And like shows like let's say not saying okay, so shows like the Jimmy Kimmels and stuff like that used to do
Mhm.
skits of that, but of course they stopped once they learned that it is wrong to do.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
what
yeah,
the wrong thing about all of this is that she admitted that she was wrong.
yeah,
Back that time she didn't realize the consequences and the history that behind all this.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, man. Like the things she did before were borderline okay.
Yep.
I mean, I could safely say that a lot of people were probably doing the same thing she did before. Like
mhm.
a lot of people were doing it the same thing as her. During that
Yeah.
time. But to only like specifically target her by bringing up on video as old as what, a 10-year-old kid? Oh God. 10-year-old or a 12-year-old? Oh God, dude. Like, and then you put it up against her. This just doesn't make sense. Okay, but okay, sure. It's a bad thing that she did that. It's a bad thing, but she learned from it. She never did it again, right?
Yeah. And that
Basically, yeah.
happened like 5+ years ago already.
Yeah. Or yeah, 5-year-old kid. What the hell?
From what I knew, I think she privated the video.
Yeah,
Um,
she was even considerate enough to after the issue was brought up, she deleted or she privated the video. She did everything to like not cover up her mistakes, but to sympathize with the audience about the Black Lives Matter type of thing. That it's not really a good thing to portray in a time like this, especially if it's really old.
Especially.
yeah.
But again, it just doesn't make sense, man.
Yeah. It's very old, and the humor back then was very
Very,
different from
very,
today.
yeah. The humor back then was basically you running on thin ice, very, very thin ice, like
Like
Basically,
yeah.
very,
if
very,
our
very, very, very thin ice.
if our
Oh my
if our
lord.
internet history was to be exposed, the apes inside
Yeah.
would be totally cancelled. Much worse than that of the case of Jenna Marbles,
Yeah.
basically.
Speaking
I
of
don't know
yeah, as
what you
well as
mean.
yeah, as well as
I
as
don't
well
know
as
what you
speaking
mean,
about
fam.
yeah, I don't know what you mean, fam.
but
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
we were young. Basically, we were young. Just like maybe
Yep.
Jenna Marbles was. We're all growing up. We're all learning. And once
Yeah.
we know that it's wrong, we stop doing it, and we
Yeah, that's
acknowledge that it was wrong.
yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing. Speaking of like young ones or the apes inside, I think this type of thing, this type of culture that people are practicing towards people, I think it makes people deviate from the platform itself, from sharing their content. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like you make like okay, a good example of this would be you guys know that art style thingy, show your art style through Sailor Moon.
Hmm. Is
Yeah,
Art
that
like
style
recent?
through Serenity.
yeah, it's like a trending in Facebook or in Twitter where people get this like picture of a Sailor Moon character. I forgot her name. I
Oh,
don't I
it's
don't
like
really watch
it's like making your
Sailor.
I
own version,
Yeah, and then like
giving your
people
own
are
art style.
sharing like yeah, make your own art style, and then like it was good for a couple of weeks until someone drew Sailor Moon as an Asian or as a African American,
Oh yeah,
as an
yeah.
African American, and like people were bashing them, like, why are you trying to make Sailor Moon into this and that when she's supposed to be like this and that, That's why it's called
no,
being.
no.
That's why it's like using your own art style. I think
Oh yeah.
it goes far. Yeah, it goes far beyond to bash their their type of thing, which I think pinpoints back towards this type of culture that makes people scared of sharing their content, sharing their drawings, sharing basically any creative thing. Because one day or sometime or another, someone's gonna get offended, and then he's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
grab, and then he's gonna grab people, contort to what the object or the content is supposedly saying, and then contort it so much that you know that that basically it makes it so wrong that the stories is completely wrong. Does that make sense?
And like
Yeah.
in the case of that Sailor Moon, in your own art style, it's a whole different let's say it's like a whole different intention, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not it's nothing wrong. It's just basically showing your art style, and like people see it wrongly, basically, which is and like you don't even give the person the space to explain because it's all flooded down by this canceling, let's
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, and again, dude, again, it's also so obnoxious. Like when they finally give the person time to explain, time to tell them why my art style is like this, why my art style is like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. They
Yeah.
contort that explanation as well. like,
Wait.
it's basically like a lose-lose
Wait.
situation. You either shut up and take the hate, or you stand up against them and take the hate,
Yeah, basically.
which ultimately is just wrong. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cancel culture is just wrong in so many
Another
aspects.
I think another case that happened this month was you all know, or are you all familiar with the Disney Channel show before? What you call this? It's called Jessie, I think.
Oh yeah, Jesse, yeah.
Yeah,
What
and you
about
know
him?
about the little kid, the little girl, that she babysits, I believe.
Yeah.
So she's all grown up now. It's been years since past the release of Jessie, and
Mhm.
she has her own Twitter account, a huge following. I guess it's around the 100,000s there, and
Mhm.
she decided to cancel some people for like basically things they've said before that are pretty. Let's say it's like pretty much racist, but that was before. That's right. So,
Mhm.
but here's the fault because she would sometimes heavily rely on Snapchat screenshots, which could be heavily edited,
Yeah.
and
That's the thing too. Yeah.
sometimes the usernames and names, let's say, names are pretty much similar to people who carry the same name, and that was a huge
Mhm.
problem. I think around this month or last month, where there are some people who were indirectly attacked by this canceling, let's say. And
Oh
I
yeah,
know
another thing. Yeah. Mhm. Go on.
sorry,
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry. No, it's fine.
And some people, they deserve it because there is some wrong remarks, but some were just,
Mhm.
let's say an N word out of you know, out of nowhere, which is,
Mhm. It's
and
not justified.
and it's like 8 or 12-year-old kids saying it, having a laugh basically. That was
Yeah,
before, but now, it's a
it's
whole
not really.
different ordeal.
It's a whole, yeah, it's a whole different category in a sense. Speaking of that, by the way, speaking of like, you know, wrongfully accusing the person with the same name as the person who said it. There was this event, I think. You guys know Raj's show where he
Oh,
invites,
yeah.
yeah, where he invites a couple of streamers and like it's a date or host type of thing. I forgot the concept of the
Oh,
game.
the
Yeah,
Raj Roulette.
yeah, the Raj Roulette. Yeah. So I think his biggest, you know, there was this episode he did where you guys know Fedmeister.
No, sorry.
No, basically, Fedmeister is in a group called Offline TV, but we'll get to
Ah,
that
okay,
later.
okay.
So
Alright.
basically, Fed was invited to the Raj show, and
Mm-hmm.
like, in the final levels of, when it was a one-on-one with JD Ann or Jade Ann, I forgot her name, and then Fed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Raj asked the girl, Jade, or like, yeah, Jade, whether you would date Fed or like just take the host. So like after taking the host, Fed was like, trying to like give people the reactions or some crap like that. Until like when finally Jade called Fed like ugly or something. You're ugly,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. Like on some unnecessary comments, man. Like people like flooded in, people trying to cancel this, cancel that, cancel her. But then the thing is, like, there was a streamer that had the same name as her
It got affected instead.
and got affected. Like instead of flaming the other one or the one that which is not supposed to be, man. Like they were actually sending death threats to the mistaken one. Like they would raid her stream, say stuff. Like she had to like stop streaming, which is just like, oh my lord, man. It
And like,
just it's just
it's the same case as Jenna Marbles, right? Where basically her income is like
is affected.
disaffected, basically. It. Let's say she has merch, she has her own business, but it has her name on it. And this cancel culture basically affects their status, basically, which is just
Yeah, which is unremarkably not good. It
yeah,
doesn't make
basically, yeah.
sense. It doesn't make sense. I have a feeling that they're just a bunch of like 12-year-old or 15-year-old kids to like, oh god. I don't know anymore, man. It's just not good. Seeing one of the OGs fall like that.
So,
Yeah,
Smosh had to
Mm.
fall out, but
yeah, Smash with the fallout.
but they didn't
But
get cancelled or anything.
I mean, there's Smash, man.
Yeah,
But yeah, we have to like, not really, but like I don't want to participate in anything or any movement because of that. It's kind of scary actually. Like being bullied so much that you have to get out of the platform as soon as possible, just like Jenna Marbles did.
basically you have to go hide and like have a new name, have a new life, basically.
Yeah, something like that. But it's what? It doesn't make sense, man. It's just sad. So even though we're small timers, give support to Jenna Marbles, man. Give support to those who are wrongfully accused of the canceling culture. And if you think you're right that you shouldn't cancel that specific person, don't do it. Don't be one of those clout chaser like, I want to be one of these masters, man. I want
Yeah,
to be one of them. And
if
like
you're gonna
speaking of like
if you're
clout
gonna
chasing and
cancel,
shit.
like do it right at least.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
make
the
sure
point.
you're 100% sure. Don't leave a percent out. Okay.
Yeah, be 120% sure.
Basically, yeah.
If your facts are good, and it is in fact factual or the truth, then do so. No problem.
Yeah.
People will take it. You know. But again, being accused of something you did from your past inevitably ruins your future or who you are right now. Doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
sense. I thought a lot of people were, I thought that you're supposed to learn from that mistake, become a better person as of our you are right now.
Yeah. Basically, it
And
is part of your past anyway. So
mhm, yeah,
what's
and
important
yeah,
is you learn from it. You know, the
yeah,
worst
you
is like
learn from it.
you didn't. The worst is like you didn't really, think much of it and just let it be. What's important
Yeah,
is that person learns from it.
yeah,
It instead of canceling people, it's better to address, and tell them that what you did was wrong. Even though, let's say you address something she did before, like
hmm
let's say we didn't have this whole thing with Jenna Marbles where she had to leave. We could just tell her that, oh, I saw this old video of yours where you did a blackface segment, and
hmm
nowadays this is not an acceptable, let's say, gesture to do.
yeah,
So we could
mhm,
share a bit of history on why that is not, right to do,
yeah,
and tell her that she should do something about it. Not where not where you make her leave YouTube. Don't give her any
hate, yeah, any hate,
yeah, don't give her like any room to like grow as a person and learn from
mhm,
that.
yeah.
It's just messed up. Basically,
But
just
like, yeah, again, like if you're gonna bring up something in the past, bring it up when she does it over and over and over again.
yeah,
Not just
basically.
do it once and like boom. It doesn't make sense, man.
That's when you know it's wrong.
Yeah, that's when it's wrong. That's when you can address the person. Hey, the thing you're doing is not right. Hey, it's not a valid opinion. It's not really the best. You're walking on very thin ice. Oh God.